thank you so much for joining. Thank you for tuning in to Leader Tips by E, brought to you by me, the_Ebony_VP. Today, we're going to spend some time talking about some great things. And before we get started, I do want to say this disclaimer. Remember, this video, these series of videos are only based off of me, my experiences being a Black woman working in corporate spaces. You take what applies or what you can resonate with, and you leave behind what does not. Again, these videos are not just for people of color or women. These videos are for anyone that wants to learn how to drive more inclusivity in the workplace. And so I hope that you're able to take something from our messages that's represented in the videos. We're going to go ahead and get started. I am sure you have heard of, I want you to show up and be your authentic self at work. We talk about it all the time, especially in a diversity, equity, and inclusion space. We are constantly talking about bringing your full self, your authentic self to the workplace. You're probably wondering, well, what does that really mean, Ebony? Authenticity is really about you feeling totally comfortable to show up and be who you are and to not be someone you're not. We all know the psychological impacts of us being able to be authentic in the workplace. It helps us to feel like we can truly just have a good time. We can connect with our teammates. We can really add value and be innovative in the way we think. We also are stickier with the organization. And what do I mean when I say that? We are more committed to the company because we understand that they see us, they hear us. And so all of these are some great impacts that are offered to us when we truly do feel like we can show up and be our authentic selves. I have, of course, prepared some notes for this video because I want to make sure I don't leave anything out, because it's very important for us to spend some time talking about this. What are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about what does authenticity look like in the workplace. We're also going to spend some time talking about what it does not mean. I am going to share maybe 2 tips from my experience on what authenticity is not, what showing up and be your full self is not in the workplace. And then, of course, I'll provide some tips on how we can be more authentic and prevent ourselves from code switching and covering, and also for leaders, how they can show up in a way that allows us to be authentic as well. So what are some of those additional impacts? We're able to build effective relationship with our peers when we're able to be our true selves. We're able to apply skills in a way that just really drives a level of excitement because we can truly just dive into the work. We truly feel appreciated. Another great thing about us being our authentic self in the workplace is that it does help to foster a psychologically safe workplace environment. And having a psychologically safe workplace allows us to be candid with giving feedback and also be open to receive feedback. What are some things we can do to be more authentic in the workplace when for so many years, let's face it, we were told to cover, we were told to code switch. And as I've mentioned before in a previous video, we weren't just told that by the corporations, we were also told that and groomed up that way from our parents, our grandparents, that it's certain things you do at work and certain things you don't. And so let's talk a little bit more about what does it mean to truly be authentic at work. Infuse your personality, be who you are. Infuse your personality in everything that you do, from relationship building to the way you approach work. Don't feel like you have to act like someone else. If you are Ebony, be Ebony. You don't have to be Lauren. You don't have to be Samantha. Gladly discuss similarities because, of course, that's a way for you to connect. But also, I want you to gladly appreciate the differences, the unique experiences you've had. I think that those are going to be valuable to any organization. So make sure you capitalize on our uniqueness. Most times in companies, we want to always talk about what we have in common. Guess what? That's not the way the world sees us. And so we have to be okay with our unique perspectives and experiences. Be glad to discuss the differences as well. Possess humility and compassion for others around you. Now, here are my tips for what being authentic is not. Again, this is only based on my experiences. So you take it for what it's worth. Please don't claim to be an open book, and don't let other people say you're an open book. And let's talk about the lie. Most of the time that people that claim to be an open book and people see them as an open book, what everyone knows is not only will they talk about themselves, they'll talk about everybody else. Now, let me tell you, a lot of people come to the people who are perceived open bookers. And let me tell you this, they're coming to you because they know that you are the source of information. And they typically will not come to you when they want to share something and they want to be their authentic selves, because they know it is not safe with you. And so please do not put it out there, hey, I'm an open book. That's kind of tough. And especially when we're trying to establish authenticity, we're trying to establish psychological safety. It's tough to do that with a person who everyone knows is an open book, because not only are they opening their book, they're opening other people's books. And so my encouragement is to not proclaim to be an open book. I also encourage us to stay away from sharing our full life story all in one breath. Just like with a relationship, you have to share a little bit at a time to establish trust. And so I highly discourage us from saying, I want to be my authentic self, so I'm about to share my whole life with everybody right now on a Wednesday or Thursday or Friday. I don't want us to do that. I want us to observe the room. Look at facial expressions, pay attention to body language, pay attention to it's not just you in the room. So it's okay to have self-awareness, and we also have to be aware of what's going on around us. I do not encourage us to share our deepest, darkest secrets at one event. Also, don't be compelled to feel like you have to always overshare. It just goes back into making sure that you observe what's going on around you. What are some things our leaders can do to drive this environment to help people to feel comfortable being their authentic selves? Be yourself. So as a leader, you need to be yourself. I highly encourage you to express your hobbies and your passions and your interests outside of work. Let people see the human side of you. Be intentional about building relationships and connections with everyone on your team, not just 2 out of the 5. Build an effective and a great relationship with everyone on your team. Get to know what they like, what they dislike. Find ways to do teamwork activities so that people can recognize their strengths, their capabilities, their challenges, their likes and their dislikes as a collective team. Create a space where it's okay to make mistakes. We know that mistakes are necessary in order for us to rebound and to really just, learn. And so be okay to create that space of it's okay for us to fail or make a mistake. And fail is just the first attempt in learning. And so it's a great opportunity for us to learn. Coach and develop everyone on your team consistently. In a later video, I will talk about providing constructive feedback. And the reason that I wanted to bring that up here is because just based on my experience, I do sometimes feel that for people of color, particularly women of color, we don't find out that there is something wrong until it's too late. And so we need to receive constructive feedback. And we need that from our leaders so that we also know that there's some psychological safety that's built amongst the team. Today, we spent some time talking about what is authenticity, what it looks like in the workplace. I also provided maybe 2 tips on things that I encourage us to not do to demonstrate authenticity. We also talked about the impacts of authenticity in the workplace. And I also shared some tips on what works and how can we drive a more authentic and psychologically safe work environment. Thank you so much, and I look forward to you tuning in to the next episode. Have a good one.